Well, good morning to the webinar Being Expert in Quito. My name is Rodrigo Salas, and I'm part of the team that have been working on this project. And I'm going to introduce to you Francisco or Pancho Dos Deves, who is going to be the speaker for today in the morning. So I welcome you to this time, and I really hope that you're going to learn many more things about our city. So Panchito, is all yours, and enjoy.
All right, good morning, everyone. Pleasure to have you with us. We'll be talking about the beauty of this amazing country represented by this magnificent capital city, and that's the city of Quito. What's the intention today is that not only you become experts, but you become passionate experts about this great city of ours. And we'll be again, sharing with you what the city is about and how we do things here, and how that can contribute to your sales and of course your good service to your dear clients. So we'll that's what we'll do it. And at the very end of some basic house rules in here, at the very end of the webinar, we'll give you some time, about within 12-15 minutes or so, to talk about questions that you may have. And of course, the minute you write that question in the little box that is present on the interface little screen that you have on your own screens, we will be sharing that question with everybody, so everybody is aware of what you're asking us. We acknowledge that your inquiry may be beneficial for everybody else. All right, so that's the way we'll do it. And again, questions will be at the end. So probably a good idea right now is to get your headphones and good view of your screen. Probably get a piece of paper and a pen, so you can jot down a couple of comments, ideas, and questions that you may have, and we'll share that within the end of the webinar. Beautiful day, by the way, here in Quito. It's a glorious morning here in the city. It's all nice and sunny. Volcanoes are up and showing quite nicely. So whoever is visiting Quito today, or whoever has the honor of living here in Quito, Rodrigo, myself, and the rest of the team, had a fantastic view of the volcano surrounding the beautiful valley of Quito. So at least from a virtual point of view, you can join us on this one. So we'll start the webinar right away, and again, we'll be talking about the magnificent city of Quito. We'll shut down the screen, the web camera in there, and we'll start talking about the amazing things that make up the city. So let's go to our map, and I'm sure you've seen a map of this region of the world and where we are. And of course, we are in the country of Ecuador. We are the capital city of this amazing tropical destination in South America. And you can see our location right there, surrounded by incredible countries, incredible neighbors that we have, with direct connections, easy ways to get into our country. And you can see the map right there. We are right at the equator, meaning that if you live in the northern hemisphere, you fly towards the middle of the world, and if you live in the southern hemisphere, you fly towards the middle of the world. Therefore, it's not that much of a faraway destination. It is all within reach. And just to give you ideas, if you fly from Miami, for example, it's less than 4 hours to get in here, and the same time zone, which makes it quite interesting and easy for travelers. Another idea that I can give you, if you're visiting the northern region of South America, and say you're visiting Colombia, it only takes about an hour and 10 minutes to fly from Bogota into Quito. And if you're flying all the way from Houston, little short than 6 hours will get you right into the city of Quito. So that tells you that Ecuador is not that far away, and of course arriving to the beautiful city of Quito is not far away either. Now, when we say when we talk about the country, and we were just saying how beautiful it is, remember that you are at latitude 000. In other words, you're coming to the tropics. And this tropical destination, Quito, is amazing because it is not right at sea level. It's up in the mountains, and it's surrounded by incredible volcanoes. So the landscapes that you'll see in here, that your clients will get a chance to see in here, are not just fascinating, but are just breathtaking. In the Andes is the only place where you can see the tropical Andes, if you will, and it's all surrounding the city. So regardless the angle where you are, your views are going to be different. If you happen to be in the modern section of the city, one view. If you happen to be in the historic center of the city, then you'll have another great view of the surrounding valleys. We were saying a while ago that yes, Quito is the capital of Ecuador. Its population, it's a little short of 2,500,000, but remember that the city has a lot of widespread locations, so it's not that all 2.5 million people live within the cities. It's all including neighborhoods and valleys and suburbs and so forth, and that is what makes the total population of Quito. As we were saying, we are high up in the mountains, 2,800 meters above sea level, little over 9,000 feet, and it is a great location also for coming in and feeling that heartbeat. But we always recommend your clients, whenever they get to the city of Quito, don't start going right away to the gym, because your heart is going to feel it. But nevertheless, you should know that you are at a high altitude city in Quito. Now, the climate of the city, because we are in the tropics, it's quite interesting. It's mild climate, meaning that this is one of those destinations. The city of Quito is one of those destinations that you can sell any time of the year. And that is a great advantage when you think about it, because other destinations may be quite seasonal, affected by, of course, the regular weather patterns and so forth. But here in the city of Quito, you don't have that, meaning that for 12 months of the year, you can come into the city. It's mild temperature. As we can say, the lowest may get anywhere between 9 to 10 degrees Celsius, around about 50 Fahrenheit. And for the warmest, with the sun and all that, anywhere between 26 to 27 Celsius, which is a little over 80 degrees Fahrenheit. What you should know is that because you are at a high altitude city, the action of the sun is going to be definitely quite strong. So if you happen to be cold for any minute, just going out in the sun will warm you up very, very rapidly. Now, the city itself, it's got a very interesting and quite diverse in its origins and history. If we go way, way back to the Inca times, we will know that after the Inca kingdom reigned in the area, several Aboriginal groups settled within the highlands of South America, and Quito was no exception. Within Quito and in the surrounding areas of Quito, there are hundreds of archaeological remains that make the city quite interesting from an even earlier times in its history. So there are many archaeological remains, and then it comes the time that the tribes, or if you will, the Aboriginal groups who were established already in the region, went through the Spanish colonization time, which lasted anywhere between 1534 and 1809. And all of that time is the time that the actual culture of Ecuador blends with European influence. And that is, the result of that is the blending of a beautiful pseudo-culture that you'll get to see in a minute, in terms of its architecture, in terms of its people, even in terms of what type of Spanish we talk about nowadays. Then later comes the independence time, the times of the Great Colombia, or this amazing region that included several nations within South America. Then the early days of the Republic come in, and gradually, if you remember if you saw the last slide, look at that same plaza hundreds of years later. That's the same San Francisco Plaza with the Compañía domes that you see there in the background, but of course many years later. And then we face, of course, the 21st century with all these amazing challenges, and of course the many interest on people on visiting this amazing city of Quito. Now, the city itself, and this will give you a lot of good reasons or good solid background on why to sell Quito in all the different titles that the city has, is that, first of all, declared by UNESCO in 1978, it's the first World Heritage Site. And that means that due to the amazing amount of culture that you find within the city, it is back in 1978 that UNESCO gave the city of Quito its amazing title of being the first World Heritage property. Then, of course, other titles have been given to the city of Quito, and we've listed there all of you for you to remember these, and whenever you review the webinar, you can use them as sales points when you're trying to convince a client not only why to come to Ecuador and the city of Quito, but why to stay in Quito for several days. Now, of course, modern places such as TripAdvisor and other web reviews and so forth have given for many years in a row the choice of traveler's choice, meaning that clients, visitors of the city of Quito who are experiencing the city are writing about it and are putting Quito way, way up in the map. For 3 years in a row, 2012, 13, and 14, the city has been a traveler's choice. So again, you are selling a destination, you are selling a city that is worth visiting. And then, of course, the World Travel Awards gave the city of Quito the title of South America's leading destination 2 years in a row, 2013 and 14. And of course, again, that tells you that the city of Quito has gained not only a good reputation, but definitely a city that is providing travelers with amazing experiences once we're here. Finally, it's a finalist of the new 7 wonders of the world. So the city of Quito is a finalist in that one, and hopefully will be soon in that important list of 7 cities. Now, if we are in the city of Quito, and I'm going to talk about the map that you see in there, because remember that Quito is in a valley, and it's a very narrow valley. The city is divided in several regions, if you will, or you can do different things in the different regions of Quito. But the best way to orient yourself is, if you want to know where north is, you only have to see that beautiful, massive complex of mountains to one side, and that makes the Pichinchas complex. In other words, the Pichinchas are a set of volcanoes making one big structure, and that huge mountain is the one that will be facing west. So whenever you see the mountains, that's west, and then it's quite easy to know where north is, where east is, and then locate yourself within the city. Unlike any other flat areas, orienting yourself in the city of Quito is rather easy due to that, again, massive volcanic complex known as the Pichinchas volcanoes, and its many different mountains. Now, in the city, once you are visiting the city itself, you will notice that there are different areas that make the city not only quite impressive, but rather quite diverse in terms of things that you can do. Because in most cities, as you know, there's an art district, and there's a historic location, and there's a modern section, and so forth. The city of Quito follows exactly that same pattern, and it's only a matter of getting more adventurous and getting more knowledgeable about the city that will make your clients quite pleased when you give them such explanations. One of those areas is, of course, the historic center of the city. That's where that's the birthplace of culture, if you will, of the city of Quito, and the main reason why it was inscribed as a World Heritage Property. And then you can see on the left side of the screen, in sort of a yellowish shadow, that's the area, the region where the historic center is located. Then, of course, you find the hype area, the downtown area, if you will, where fun things happen, and good food, and pubs and bars and things like that occur. And that's the Mariscal and Floresta district, the one that you see in sort of a reddish shade in that one. And then going north is the financial district, if you will, or the more modern area of the city. And then what this map is telling you that is that in the history of Quito, Quito developed towards the north. It started to where the downtown, the historic center is right now, but over the years it grew particularly towards the northern section of the city. So again, that is what gives you your bearings within the city of Quito. 3 regions, one of them the historic center, the fun Mariscal and Floresta area, and then finally to the north, the financial district. Now, let's talk about the old town of the city, and this is one thing that, of course, will impress all visitors that come in here. If you look at the picture that you're looking at there, this is taken from a higher elevation facing southeast rather, and you can see the Panecillo Mount, little hill that you see there, and then in front of that is most of the historic center of the city. Look at the many colonial churches and plazas that your clients will be seeing once they experience the city of Quito. But you should know that this is the largest preserved historic center of all in Latin America, and by large it means that a little short of 4 square kilometers, about 9 acres of that area is the area that is preserved. In other words, it won't be touched from what it's already been. And just if you've seen slides of Quito, you probably have seen the beauty of that historic center of the city. Over 130 monumental buildings are in there. In other words, by monumental buildings, what we mean is that they have been inscribed and recognized as monuments for the city, not just buildings themselves or construction, if you will. They have been definitely there as monumental buildings. More than 60 churches, chapels, monasteries, convents are in the area due to the Spanish influence that we've had, particularly through Catholic religion. And that has given Quito also the nickname, if you will, of the cloister of America. So when your clients are in here, they'll be immersed in the blending of that culture. Not that they're going to see all 60 churches and convents and monasteries unless they want to, but they will definitely be immersed in this great blending of cultures that our city had. The many plazas that we have, and here's San Francisco Square or San Francisco Plaza is what you see there in the picture, is definitely a highlight when clients are exploring the city of Quito. So again, that is the whole historic district of the city. Now moving on, if we happen to be in the Mariscal area or the Floresta area, what you'll notice is the international ambience that you will feel at this location. You'll notice that many languages are spoken within this region, and that's because it attracts clients and visitors from all corners of the world. So it's quite common to walk in here and hear to your left side Norwegian, and to in front of you English-speaking people, and behind you there are the Germans, and to one side the Spanish are speaking their language, and it's because the international ambience that the city has. The city has been extremely well designed also in terms of modern plaza, shops, bars, pubs, and so forth. And lately, within the past 2-3 years, this innovation of having all or most of the squares within that region, even including Wi-Fi areas free of access, of course, are definitely a highlight. This is what puts people well connected to the world. If you have traveled to other destinations of the world, you don't find this in many plazas with free Wi-Fi. But in today's world, as we know, it's quite important not only to be connected, but to share with others where you are. In sites of Quito, in those free Wi-Fi plazas, is definitely a highlight. So again, this is the place for good food of all kinds of origins and directions. It's the place for nightlife. It's the place to really get hype. Bohemian areas, if you are into the art scene or pubs and bars, plenty of that can be found in this Mariscal Floresta region. Now, when we move a little bit more towards the north of the city, we will find the financial district, the modern area, and how Quito is pumping in as a very heart-throbbing city in South America. All of that can be seen in the financial district of the city, and this is where some modern hotels will be located. Great place for walking, great place for banking, ATM machines all over, malls and shopping centers. All of that is within the area that we will call the financial district. In terms of parks and urban design, fantastically done. This is also where the Olympic Stadium is located, and if you're into sports and all that, many sport events are in that area. The La Carolina Park, which is within the urban side of the city of Quito, and its outdoor exhibitions, all of them are in there to impress any visitor that happens to be in the financial district of the city. Now moving on, we continue heading north from here on, and we're going to arrive to the famous middle of the world, because there's an imaginary line that separates the earth in two halves. We happen to be in the country labeled after that equatorial line, thus the name of our country, Ecuador. But within Quito, about 30-35 minutes north of the city of Quito, you will find the actual location where the monument represents that middle of the world. And from many angles, of course, it's quite trendy to be in there, because you want to find there the reason why you came to the middle of the world is the monument itself, where you can climb all the way to the top, see the line, the imaginary line, if you will, there, and of course see where the northern hemisphere is, see where the southern hemisphere is, and definitely take a picture with both feet straddling right at the equator. There are many music and dance programs in that area as well. A little north of that, there's a planetarium, and it's great for any kind of interest in astronomy, whether it's basic or entrepreneur or any more experience. Because remember that at the equator, you can see constellations that happen in both hemispheres at the same time. It's one of those few locations, for example, that on the same evening you can see the Southern Cross and the Big Dipper. And that is quite unique when you think about it, being at the equator and seeing those constellations right at the same spot. It's also quite interesting because right there you can do all the different experiments that you probably find on Google nowadays, and talk about being right at the middle of the world. How can you roll this? How can you roll that? If the water flushes in one direction, or if it does the other way around, or how to break an egg right at the equator. All of those little experiments can be done in that area. So it's not just a place to be there and see and say that you've been right at the equator. It's also a place to have fun, and that's the most important thing when you happen to be in that region. Now, moving on with our information about the city of Quito, we arrived to the probably the soul of what makes Quito the city of Quito, and that is the heavy amount of culture and entertainment that we get right at the capital city of Ecuador. It is here where theater is found, where music is found, where all these different attractions and festivals are found in the city. And think of this as not only things that your clients can do, but just think of how diversely you can sell the city to different interests and different clients all over the world. If they want to hear and experience good theater and music festivals, they happen to be right here in Quito. If they're into the art scene, they can definitely do that. If you happen to have clients who are interested in seeing more of the religious side of the city of Quito, definitely around Easter, the famous procession of Good Friday happens to be right in the historic center of Quito with the cucuruchos. We can see the custom right there with the conic shaped hat and the purple color, typical of Good Friday processions all over Latin America. All of that can be done in the area. So again, think of Quito as a place to sell diversity to your clients, not only the stopping place for an international airport for the country. It's also the place for many festivals and art dances and so forth. So international is what the city is about at the moment. If your clients are interested heavily into music, symphonies, and classical music, there are a wide variety of events happening throughout the week and throughout the month in any given month of the year. So you can come in and be assured that Quito will definitely supply your clients with many options, and of course, for having fun in the city, there are many places to meet and gather and eat and celebrate the day and enjoy the Ecuadorian coffee and the chocolate and drinks and Ecuadorian beer and anything that makes fun a destination is what your clients will experience in here. If you happen to have clients who may be interested in of course seeing a little bit of sports events as part of their trip within the country of Ecuador, do know that particularly the qualifying matches for the World Cup are definitely quite an interest in the city. Of course, the local football soccer championship is here, but the qualifying matches always attract travelers, and you can definitely match that with a calendar that is already present. And the amount of culture, as we were saying, is quite immense. The many ancient dancing festivals and cultural festivals that you have within the city are quite unique. All right, so we move on from that amazing thing, which is the culture and entertainment of the city, and let's get into the green side of the city. You will think that an urban area, an area in the tropics, will definitely devote a great amount of land to greenery, and yes, the city of Quito fits in that criteria quite well. Just to give you an interesting number here, the international ratio of what is the recommended amount of green space per person is 10 square meters, and the city of Quito has more. It doubles more than that. It's about 20 square meters that we have of green space per person, and that makes the city of Quito one of the most green urban areas, or at least most green urban capitals in within Latin America. So it is quite interesting that you have a city that has devoted a tremendous amount of greenery. And regardless where you are, if you happen to be in the modern section of the city, the older section of the city, the more fun and upbeat area of the city, there's always a little bit of a green park available for walking, strolling, and definitely getting to know more of the city. In the more modern area of the city, for example, in the section called La Carolina Park, there's a nice lake. You can go paddle boating in that area, and that place has the botanical garden, which is interesting because you will think that in the tropics, where the highest diversity of plants is found, there is a botanical garden. Fortunately, that exists in the city of Quito, and your clients can experience that. Within the city and within the, not going away from the city itself, there are plenty of trekking and hiking options that we have. The Pichinchas, the volcanoes that we were talking about, are quite easily accessible by the cable car, and the tram will take you up to this area, and there are plenty of mountain slopes that will give you great ideas and great views of the city. Not too far away from the city, there are many mountain biking options as well. So together with trekking and mountain biking, if your clients are looking for that more active lifestyle, they can definitely fulfill that in the city. If they want to go camping, plenty of camping areas also within the more countryside of Quito. So there's plenty to do. So again, it's not just a city, it's not just a platform with an airport where you can land and connect to other destinations in the country. It's definitely a city where you can see its amazing landscapes and culture and so forth. Here's a view of Cotopaxi volcano, for example, one of my favorite still active volcanoes within the Andes range, and plenty of mountain hiking and climbing for the more experienced adventurers. All of that again can be done within the city of Quito. Now, moving on into different interests that you may have, you may wonder what happens in the summertime when your clients have time to travel as a family. There are plenty of kids and family activities that you can also experience in the city of Quito. So again, not just museums and the plazas and all that, plenty of activities that will interest your kids, clients, and of course your patrons and their families as well. The Interactive Science Museum is always a highlight, and it's fantastic to see in here that again this developing country has all this amazing infrastructure and high technology to move into that. So again, think of Quito as a destination that in the summertime or when families travel together, they can definitely fulfill your interests. If your clients are interested in the shopping side of the city, plenty of options as well. Plenty of historic locations that have shopping areas for good souvenirs, good textiles, quality ceramics, and all of that, and definitely more modern stuff as well. Not that your clients are going to travel all over the world, to come to the city of Quito to shop, but if that shopping need is present, do know that more than 10 big malls are found in the city of Quito for that to be fulfilled. Now, because the country produces not only, again, ceramics and great textiles and all of that, the country also produces other amazing things that your clients are seeing there in their regular homes. They many times see chocolate, and when they look at the birthplace of that chocolate they're eating, they'll notice that is Ecuador the birthplace of that. Plenty of chocolate variations is what your clients will experience in the city of Quito. Do know that all of that is within reach, whether you are up in the northern section of the city, the old district, all of that can be seen and definitely purchased and shopped and all of that. So it all comes up to the memories, to the unforgettable memories that again the city can give you and your clients. If your clients are interested in knowing more about the archaeology of the city and of course our origins, plenty of that within the city. Plenty of museums do have archaeological remains and archaeological explanations, but they basically convey the beauty of the city of Quito in our amazing back-in-time culture. Not too far away, northwest of the city, you will find the Tulipe complex, where the Yumbo culture lived. Not too far away in time, but they definitely left an interesting mark in that area. And of course, the weather in that location, it's quite pleasant, and it's all within within reach on a day trip. It's not that you know, you need to travel for several hours all the way to reach them. In less than 2 hours, you can be in that region surrounded by great scenery, and again, the archaeological makeup. If your clients are interested also in asking you, well, what is there to do at night? If they want to see the pub scene and the bar scene and discos and so forth, plenty of entertainment and plenty of nightlife is available in the city. From time to time, of course, your clients will match a particular concert, a big event happening in the city that can be definitely a highlight for certain clients. If they couldn't, for example, find tickets back at home for the latest Metallica concert, maybe they can do that. This is a picture you see there is from the latest Metallica concert a couple of months ago in the city. All of that can be done, remember, in the city of Quito. If some of your clients are perhaps on a different, not so leisure look of the city, but are more interested in putting together a congress, a big reunion, a big convention, do know that the city of Quito is very well designed for that purpose. It's very well established. It's already got a name and reputation, and plenty of congresses, meetings, and conventions can be organized in the city. The hotel infrastructure is there. The buildings themselves are ready. All of them highly equipped with technology, good lighting, good parking areas, easily accessible from hotels. All of that is within the city. And so keep in mind that if your clients are interested in that, maybe a large corporation, a large banking corporation that would like to have a congress or their big meeting in the city, all of that can be done. Here's a picture, for example, of one of our monuments within the historic center of the city. And think of your clients organizing an event right there, the launching of a product, or maybe the wrap-up of sales of a year. All of that can be done in an ambience that is totally baffling and breathtaking, and that's the makeup of the city. The ambience will be provided by the history and background of the city. So wrapping up these ideas, remember the city of Quito, it's a vibrant city. It's old in its particular side. It's modern with all this Wi-Fi technology available. It's new because of the many hotels and former hotels. It's a city that is quite diverse and definitely versatile when it comes to planning an event. Now let's talk about a bit of the infrastructure and services in the city as we move on with our webinar, because remember that we want to make you experts in different fields of the city of Quito, and the different infrastructure that when it comes to hotels will give your clients not only variety, but you will have different options when it comes to selling. In terms of accommodation, for example, the hotel network that the city has is fantastic. You can go from 5-star properties within the more refined, for the more refined client, to 3-star properties and 4-star properties that are following international brands and international standards, if you will. But do know that the city of Quito has different categories for accommodation: 5-star properties, 4-star properties. All of that can be found in some of them are in the historic center of the city, others are in the modern area of the city. When it comes to food, plenty of restaurants, and of course most hotels do have their own restaurant, of course, serving Ecuadorian food and Ecuadorian delicacies. All of that can be found in such, so you can have a flavor, so your clients can have a flavor of the city. But of course that flavor of the city sometimes needs to be internationalized, if you will, or international food with an Ecuadorian flavor, or with an Ecuadorian twist when it comes to seasoning and different recipes. A blending of that is definitely the key when it comes to understanding a bit more of the gastronomic culture of the city. Getting to Quito, it's quite easy. We have a fantastic international airport, only about 35 to 40 minutes away from the city, with its awards already servicing more than 33 destinations, some of them national or domestic, if you will, others international within the South American continent, Central and North American continent, but of course Europe as well in those connections. So the city of Quito is very well connected. What's interesting when it comes to connectivity is that the longest continental flight within Ecuador is just short of 45 minutes. Think about it. When you fly, for example, from the city of Quito to Cuenca, it only takes 45 minutes to reach it, and then you are at a different location. So think of Quito as easy connectivity, not only within the region, but also within the country. When it comes to moving around the city of Quito, regular buses are available, bicycles are available too for free within the city. That is becoming sort of a trend in cities in particularly the western side of the world. Taxis are available virtually any corner, and Quito for me is one of the easiest cities to not only grab a cab but also to have cabs that have affordable rates. You can go on Quito for about a 30-minute ride and pay anywhere between $4 to $5 only as you move within the city. So taxis are quite popular as options in the city for moving around. The transportation system within Quito, the public transportation system, not that your clients are going to get into that, but it's quite interesting that when you have a city that is narrow and pretty long, that is the easy way to give birth to commerce and movement within the city. So your clients will get a chance to see how the public transportation works in the city. Now, to put all this information together and to wrap it up and start thinking of how to put a hotel, restaurants, recommendations, cruises, connections to other destinations within the city, remember that the best is to rely on the tourism directory that is available on the webpage trade. All you need is Ecuador.travel. In that one, just look for the directory, and that is the one that summarizes all the options available when it comes to airlines, hotels, lodges, restaurants, all the options that you need, or all the information that you need to put a program together. That can be found as your starting baseline on the directory itself. Now, to have a couple of ideas that will make sense from a commercial point of view, and to give you ideas that will make sense from a sales point of view, here's an idea of what to do in Quito. If your clients have that amount of time, of course, and we hope they do, 4 days in Quito is a highly recommended area. Not, again, not that all your clients are going to go for 4 days. Hopefully, all of them will do that. But if they do, there's plenty to do for 4 days in the city of Quito. So let's start the first day, for example, where the main highlight will be experience, and we will focus on the old town of the city. That can be a full day when you think about it. The many churches and convents and monasteries, and a good lunch in the historic center of the city is definitely worth doing on the first day, because that'll be the opening door to the rest of the city. In the afternoon, maybe some cultural event is what will sell well. Maybe something at the theater, maybe a particular exhibit, maybe a particular walk within the plazas, maybe something exclusively happening at one location is what can be recommended for that first day, and that will give you a very good idea on the city. Then moving on that one, do know that other things that can happen on the different days. Let's move into the second day just to give you an idea there. Here's the second day. And on the second day, you can do a little more exploring, perhaps, because you've adapted already to the altitude of the city of Quito, and it's probably time to do a bit of exploring into the countryside and the hills in the cable car that will take us up to the Pichincha's summit, or some of the basic summits of that area. That is quite an option for your second day. The first day was more of the culture. The second day is more on the outskirts and views of the city. In some place good with a good view for lunch is highly recommended. The Teleférico is the name of the cable car that will take us to the one of the summits of the Pichincha complex. Now, on the third day, it's probably time to do more on the green side of the city. And of course, we'll need to be first on the modern section of the city. A visit to the botanical garden, for example, could be quite rewarding. We can add the men's chapel or the Capilla del Hombre and lunch at that area. And then in the afternoon, add a little bit of a museum, add a little bit of flair and coffee, tea, beer, see and wrap up the end of the day. Those are things that you can do on that particular third day. So a combination of a little bit of walking, modern area, and definitely the botanical garden of that location. Now, of course, we still have one day to go, and that'll be the fourth day. By now, your clients are not only immersed very well in the city of Quito, by now your clients have understood what the culture of Quito is about, what the entertainment level is within the city of Quito. And now it's time to do, of course, the grand finale, if you will, or the reason why you came to the country in the middle of the world. And it's a trip to the north of the city towards the middle of the World Monuments Complex. Definitely worth having lunch in that location. Don't need to come back to the city for that. Just have lunch at that one, and definitely have the great views of the city of Quito, and definitely the ones right at the middle of the world. In the afternoon, probably it's time to wrap up the trip itself and start thinking about, well, I'm going to get my postcards, and I want to get my textiles, and it's probably a good time to do some shopping. It's maybe a good idea to have your last taste of the highlands and get your chocolate ready to go back home, or anything, or Ecuadorian coffee, whatever that you think will be worth stopping in your last minute to shop and to indulge in the beauty of the city. All right, so as you can see, there's definitely lots to do in 4 days in Quito. Other suggested visits that you will find are definitely in the historic center of the city. La Ronda is a good example of that. This beautiful boulevard within the colonial district of Quito. Artisans are there, and great food is located. It's found. Textiles and good shopping. That's if you have little extra time, that can be done. Something that is in the historic center that is quite interesting. There's a street called the Street of the Seven Crosses. A little bit of the Catholic blending, if you will, of our culture. Strolling through that street, just counting those 7 crosses is definitely worth including in any exploration that your clients will be doing in the historic center of the city. You'll go by the presidential palace, and of course the main square, the grand plaza of the city. And then finally, other things that you can include within Quito, it's a chance to visit its many parks. Remember that there's plenty of green in the city of Quito. And if your clients like to do a lot of urban walking, if you will, besides the historic component of the city and all of that, there's definitely a lot of green areas where your clients can walk and stroll within the city. If they're more into the sitting down and watching the world go by and shooting the breeze and sipping and indulging in coffee and beer and all of that, plenty of that is found within the city. And remember that a lot of these are available not only at daytime. A lot of these, of course, are open at nighttime. And there's always easy to find something rewarding and fun to do in Quito. Other visits that will be more on the cultural side will include museums, and museums are great in the city. Keep in mind that the archaeological makeup and history of the art history of the city is definitely worth exploring. Here's one in San Francisco, for example. The other one we saw previously is the near San Francisco, but that's the Alabado Museum. The City Museum, of course, is also downtown, and you can explore that area as well. Again, this is showing you the amazing amount of culture and history that the city has. All right, if you are into the more of the contemporary art scene, yeah, your clients can have that. There's something available for everyone here in the city of Quito. Others will like to have more of the history of the city itself, not just the country. That can be found within the National Museum with a little bit of history, local blend, and local culture. There's also a wax museum in the historic center of the city, but this is not the wax museum that you'll find in tourist traps in the northern or southern hemisphere. This is not Madame Tussauds museum. This is the wax museum that simply represents the history of the country, particularly the development of the Republic of Ecuador. And then if you have the time and the flair of doing the Quito City tour bus, get on the double-decker and through different areas of the city enjoy the great views from the comfort of sitting in a bus and stopping at different locations and indulging into the city itself. When it comes to pricing of the city of Quito, there are plenty of options. The city itself goes through a lot of different ranges where you can find that. You can go from $12 a day on visiting different things like the double-decker tour bus that you saw, as high as $30 a day on sharing basis, or even more expensive if they happen to be on a private basis. So again, when planning a program in the city of Quito, you have plenty of options for that. You can definitely cater to different markets and definitely make it quite interesting. The country itself, you should know, it is a safe destination, rated as the 4th safest country in Latin America. The city of Quito follows that trend as well, but we always recommend people to excel when it comes to the use of common sense. Don't walk at 2 a.m. in the morning with your camera around your neck. I think that's common sense. You wouldn't do that in New York. Why would you do that here in the beautiful city of Quito? Now, finally, to wrap it up, know that Quito is surrounded by incredible things to do outside of the city of Quito and connectivity to other highlights of the city. The famous Otavalo ethnic market is to the north, short of 2 hours away. The landscapes of the cloud forest of Mindo, less than 3 hours away. Papayacta, the hot springs, towards the east, about 2 hours from here. Cotopaxi volcano that you saw a while ago, about an hour and a half away. All of that is within reach. Quito can be your greatest platform for accessing those destinations. And when it comes to the other bigger destinations in the country, of course, you can go to the beaches of the Pacific coastline, Esmeraldas to the north of Quito, the beautiful city of Cuenca, also a World Heritage property in the south. You can go to Guayaquil, the largest city of Ecuador, our port city right at sea level, and you can do that. You can reach it by train, and that is the greatest way of complementing your visits to the city of Quito. The beaches of the Manabí province are also there, and if you're thinking big in terms of visiting the country, of course, Quito is your easiest access to the famous Galapagos Islands that most clients will be asking you when they're planning a trip to this great destination. If they go from here then to Guayaquil to wrap up their trip in Ecuador, no problem. Quito is easily connected to the city of Guayaquil. And talking about Guayaquil, which is the largest city of our country, our port city, our pearl of the Pacific, I would like to invite you to think about the next webinar happening with us. The next webinar will be exactly about that incredible city that in the past 5-6 years has not only come up in travel news and all of that, but is providing visitors with a tremendous amount of high satisfaction levels in our country. So Guayaquil is the next webinar that will happen in the dates that you'll see in a minute, 24th and 5th of 25th and 26th of November. You'll see a slide of that in just a minute, but just want to double check on that. Remember that from Quito, it's only 35 minutes away to the Amazon rainforest and all the different lodges and national parks in that area. It's there. We kindly ask you to vote for us. This is going to be one of those amazing cities that hopefully will make to the final list and will be declared one of the 7 wonders of the world. There's a hashtag right there that you can follow, but vote for Quito. Quito deserves to be in that particular list. And as I was saying, I would like to cordially invite you to the next webinar, which will be to become an expert in the city of Guayaquil, which is again right at the coast, largest city of Ecuador, and that will happen November 25th and November 26th of this year, all in 5 languages. You can choose your favorite languages if you want to brush up with your German or French. You can assist and attend those, but if English will do, well, English will do. All right, so keep that in mind as we go to that next webinar on the city of Guayaquil. And just to give you a good idea, we've had a great number of attendees this morning. Over 120 guests have come into this particular webinar on the city of Quito, and it's definitely worth sharing that information with you. It's showing you that there's definitely interest in coming into the city of Quito. All right, so now we can open up the the different panels here for understanding your questions that you will have about the city of Quito and how to visit and how to make it more interesting. Now, you will see in the slide on your screen shortly a very small survey that we'd like to conduct, and we'd love to have your help on this one because it allows us to get better at this idea of understanding our cities, understanding our country better, making it competitive in front of other destinations. That is what we want to have in here. And of course, with those surveys is how we know how to plan, of course, next webinars and next events that will have it. Also, once we're finished with the survey, you'll see one slide that wraps up in 5 ideas why to come into the city of Quito. And keep those in mind, because as you have those ideas ready, you will know how to sell not only Quito in Ecuador more efficiently, but how to make it fresh for your offer to your clients. Your clients probably have been already, they've done the Europe, they've done the Brazil thing, they've done Asia perhaps, and they're looking for fresh destinations, destinations that have something new, destinations that are definitely quite good at delivering what they want. And the city of Quito and of course the country of Ecuador fits in that criteria. So again, the slide that you'll see in a minute will give you that idea of wrapping up the main reasons for coming into the city of Quito. We are going to have that survey open for the next minute and 20 for the next minute or so. So make sure that if you haven't voted yet, you do it. About 72% of you have voted already. We can track you right here on the screen, so do know that if you haven't voted, probably this is a good time to go in the survey so we can advance with the end of the program. We're going to keep it open for the next 20 seconds, so go ahead and help us with that one. And again, the questions are coming up in just a minute, so if you have questions ready, jot them down, write them down, and we'll be very happy to share those with you shortly. 85% of you have voted. Thank you very much. We appreciate your help on that one. This is going to make next webinars definitely better every time. All right, we're going to close the vote now. Thank you very much for all your votes. It's definitely worth knowing all of that. And now we can go into the reasons and of course the questions that you would like to ask the panelists right in here about the city of Quito. Remember that the slide you're seeing in here summarizes or wraps up the city itself and what makes the main reasons for visiting in here. All right, We'll do the questions right in here. Now I'm going to share the first one that we have in here. And the first question that we have is, does the elevation affect non-locals, or are the effects very mild, not noticeable? Okay, well, thank you for the question. And the best way to address what happens with high altitude and so forth is that make sure your clients are not into a fast-paced program upon arrival to the city of Quito. Adapting to high altitude only requires that you spend little time in here until your body physiologically adapts to less oxygen available. And that has a lot to do with the physiology of the person, of course, with the age of the person, but simply don't start doing things fast-paced right away. So do know that right at the very beginning, your clients may feel a little bit of a headache. Dehydration is a common symptom. So hydrate properly, adapt regularly, little by little, and then your clients will be fine with that. So again, those are the best ways to address the issue of high altitude sickness if they happen to be in front of that. First recommendation that all guides will give you upon arrival is drink plenty of water, because at higher elevations the air simply is pure dry. Now here's another one. Let me see. Right, let's move on to this one. Let's see. Okay. Well, thank you for the comments of positive feedback right in here. Here's a good one. How safe is Quito? And this will give you again the what is happening with the country in terms of international relations and international makeup. And the question is, and thank you for the attendees asking this, how safe is Quito being close to Colombia? Can tourists wander around at night? Well, Colombia, it's a different country, is a whole set of different politics as you know, compared to Ecuador. So there is no similarity in that regard, meaning that issues of one country should never be associated with a country neighboring that particular location. How safe is it to walk around at night? Well, they are exercise a bit of common sense, as we were saying before, meaning that if you wander at 11 p.m. midnight with your camera around your neck, regardless where you are, Brooklyn or Quito or Bogota or Lima, chances are you're calling for trouble. So exercise common sense and you'll be fine on that one. Always ask the hotel concierge services, you know, places not to go. As any large city in the world, there are the good places and there are the not so good places. So probably a good idea is to ask the front desk or of where they shouldn't go, or how safe is to go to X and X particular location. Now here's one. This is says, since this is being recorded and we have customers going, will we be able to share this session with our customers? Oh, definitely, absolutely. We, through our network, we can definitely link you up to where this presentation is available, because this one, as we speak, is being recorded. You'll be able to use this same information, whether it's audio or whether it's just the visual component of that. So yes, that particular link will be sent to you. And there'll be several questions regarding that, so the same answer to all of them. The webinar will be available on that one. Continuously, we always recommend visit our webpage. That gets updated constantly, and so that will give you good background information and always new information. Let's see, then that's fine. Well, we're just scrolling all the commentary and great feedback that we are receiving in here. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, here's a good one that I get asked all the time, and again, this comes from previous experience, and it is. You know, should I consider the city of Quito just for the historic center of the city and just as a way of connecting because it has an international airport? Absolutely not, unless your clients are forcing you to plan a trip with only one day can be spent in the city of Quito. But if that's not the case, actually, you know, just push in that direction for moving on into more days in the city of Quito, because as you saw, there are plenty of things to do within the city. And most clients, when they come to Quito, find out that yes, they would have loved an extra day or two in the city, and that is from experience that we're gathering. So do know that they can definitely, that you should know that you can definitely spend more time, more days in the city of Quito, not just one or two. Do it 3 or 4, your clients will be happy on that one. Here's one that is quite good explaining, and it's is the US dollar accepted in Quito? Since 1999, the country of Ecuador is the only Latin American country with a true US dollar economy. In other words, our economy is based on the US dollar, so the US dollar is our currency, if you will, and that includes bills and coins. So from the US or from any destination that uses dollars, you can bring that, and that'll be the currency used in the city of Quito, and of course the whole country of Ecuador. So again, the US dollar is the currency of the country of Ecuador. Let's see, here's another one. Here's one that is quite good about the different events that may be happening in the city. Come to the directory of this particular website all the time, because right in here, that information not only gets updated, but it gets reviewed all the time, and you can definitely see and read what people are saying. It's probably worth stopping here and there and TripAdvisor, see what people are leaving as commentary and feedback for the city of Quito. Remember that TripAdvisor has put the city of Quito already 3 years in a row, 2012, 13 as and 14 as Traveler's Choice. So make sure you visit that one. Here's a good one, and we'll start wrapping up the questions right in here. And it says, how long does it take from and to the airport to the city of Quito? Now, you probably have heard that earlier, once the airport was completed, it took longer, and that information is definitely true. But nowadays, even with traffic congestion, anywhere between a lucky 45 minutes to an hour is what you will take. But again, that is including traffic congestions. A regular day of traveling, early departure for international flights or for Galapagos is not is not more than 35 to 40 minutes. All right, here's another one. Are there domestic flights to the coast and roughly price? Yes, there are plenty of options to go to fly to the coast from the city of Quito. The good news is that it's very, very short. It only takes 30 to 35 minutes to fly because you only need to go over the western side of the Andes and you're there on the flatlands of the coast. And just to give you an idea of roughly in price, anywhere short of $100 round trip. Anywhere between $90 to $100 is what you'll pay for a round-trip air ticket to the coast. Unless you want to fly, peak season, right at Christmas Day or something like that, probably that's going to be more expensive. But on average, about $90 to $100 round-trip per person. Here's another one that is definitely worth sharing with everybody. Is it easy to find places for diverse international currency exchange, like if you bring others, besides the airport and in other places? Yeah, definitely. Within the financial district of the city, there are plenty of banking options, and banks in other exchange houses will be happy to help you on that one. Can we be more specific about which park to visit for forest adventure? Well, it's hard to say because there are so many, but I will definitely say that it will depend on the level of difficulty that your clients, adventure difficulty that your clients are expecting. For example, if they're more into the trekking and mountain biking, probably a visit to Cotopaxi National Park is a good option. If they're more into the trekking but with natural components and landscapes and vegetation and waterfalls, maybe the northwest of the city of Quito will be a better option for them. So there are plenty of options on that one. So my personal suggestion will be to visit the directory and know the different types of options that are out there and try to match that with the profile of your client. Here's one that says, any vaccinations needed to enter the country? Ecuador does not require any particular one, but definitely one that it's related to if you happen to be traveling within South America, and if you've been to Brazil, a malaria certificate will be required for that. But that's again only if Brazil has been included in your South American overall program. All right, but other than that, you'll be fine without any. Okay, here's the last one. What about the new road from and to the airport? This is definitely a very, very good one, because the Collas route, which is a different route than the one taken straight from the airport into the central section of the city, is providing access towards the north of the city. And I particularly like it because in 25 to 30 minutes at the very most, you can reach the airport by using that new airport road, if you will. And that one will easily connect you to the airport and, of course, back to the city. More so if your hotel happens to be in the modern area of the city. Very, very easy to get connected by using that new airport. So that new airport is up and running. It's open. It's beautiful. Great landscape to drive around. In one of the options that we're certainly recommending clients and operators to use. Okay. So other questions that may be in here, since we keep track of them, we'll be very happy to write them down and summarize them for future use. But thank you for your time this morning. It's been a pleasure hosting this webinar about this beautiful city of Quito, and hopefully you have become a passionate expert in the city of Quito, a magnificent jewel for the country of Ecuador, and hope to see you next in the November 25th and 26th webinar for the amazing city of Guayaquil as well. Thank you for attending. Have a pleasant and fantastic day. Thank you. Muchas gracias.